Hello everyone, it is your host, Professor Foxworthy, the Safari Fox, and I am back at the Beater. And I've got some more skills to show you. I'm going to do this episode a little differently, since none of these skills need to be leveled up. Unless there's some kind of testing to be done, we're going to get to the skills. I'll give you my react to whether they're good or not, and then afterwards, instead of just wandering around here, we're going to go right into the Lethal Zone Beeter and finish up the episode over there. So let's take a look at the skills that I have managed to dig up. So the first one we got is shopping. How to find a bargain in a pile of useless junk. It gives you 50% faster search speed and 25 parts a day. Now, many of these skills are these are not skills that I typically use, so I'm actually quite unfamiliar with them, so it's kind of interesting to me too, because it's a bit of a learning experience. So is 50% search speed good? Well, if we look at the typical search speed of a character that's fully maxed out, it's 35. So basically, we're talking about a 15% faster search speed, and I suppose it would also stack with wits. So I guess we would be seeing maybe a 50 plus 35 for like, what is that, 50, 60, 70, like 85% faster searching speed? Like that, I mean, it might be. My reaction is to say no, but it might actually be better than I thought. We'll test it out afterwards, though. All right, so we also have bartending. Now, I do use bartending from time to time because of knowledge of alcoholic beverages. I believe this base actually can demonstrate it. If we go here, yeah, as you can see here, convert alcohol to moonshine, and we get 2 jugs of homemade moonshine, and then 1 jug of homemade whiskey. The homemade whiskey is a bonus item that we get from knowledge of alcoholic beverages. Unfortunately for this specific base, Rusty Rosie's, it's actually not very good. If you want to know why, check out my guide on Rusty Rosie's base, where I actually break it down. However, in a normal still, because the Rusty Rosie still kind of stinks, but in the standard crafting still, it's actually quite good, and it makes your beer crafting for selling to other communities pretty profitable. So overall, I would say bartending is a useful skill if that's the strategy you're going for. It also gives 2 morale to the entire community. Don't remember if it was always... I don't even remember if you even got a morale bonus to begin with, but +2 to the community. It's not making or breaking anything. It's just a nice little bonus on top of the main reason you would want it, is knowledge of alcoholic beverages. You also get knowledge of cooking. And that's handy because, in this case, I would normally have no use for the kitchen, for the most part, but we are able to actually prepare a feast now for an extra 10 morale and 20 stamina for an hour, specifically because we have the bartender who incidentally has knowledge of cooking. So I would say bartending is definitely yes if your strategy... It's actually a must-have if your strategy is to craft beer from a still and then sell it. Next up, we've got music, and I'm pretty sure music is the same thing as painting or whatever the other skill was, just under a different name. So it's got 2 morale to the entire community, 100 to standing rewards. Standing is this over here, basically how quickly you gain how close you get to your leader. That actually could really backfire on you in Lethal Zone, unless you don't care. Then it actually could be useful. The standing could be relevant if you demote characters really frequently, and therefore you need to re-level them up. Otherwise, it's probably not going to make much of a difference. 25 influence per day, it just doesn't really make a difference. That's like finding 1 kind of crummy-ish item and selling it per day, which it's just not that great. And then you get knowledge of the arts, which is over here, space for creativity, +5 morale to everyone if you have knowledge of the arts. So that's just kind of a bonus. That's the main reason you're picking up music is for the knowledge of the arts. So you could say it's +5, +2, so it's +7. That's just not all that great. I don't know. I don't think it's that good. So yeah, no, I'm not electrified by it. Acting. 100% standing reward, so that's the same as music, making it very comparable to music. We get 10% influence gained, and then we get pop culture knowledge. Don't know where pop culture knowledge is used. 10% influence gained is interesting, though. So the satellite broadcast from a level 3 command center, it gives you 20% influence, and if it stacks additively, then you'd be looking at 30%. That could be okay. I don't know if that's like... I don't know if that would be worth it for trying to stack up your influence bonuses. Maybe if you're playing on like standard zone or green zone, because on green zone, killing one feral gives you 50 influence. So maybe stacking up your influence rewards would be, potentially worth it on green zone or standard zone. But like trying to eke out a ton of influence from lethal zone, I just don't think it's a super great idea. So overall, kind of not impressed by acting. It doesn't look like it's a high difficulty skill. It probably is more useful on lower difficulties, though. Jace has sleep psychology. Better night's sleep leads to a better day's work. You get +4 morale to your community and 2 beds. Now, you got to consider that he uses a bed, so you're only getting 1 bed. I mean, you are getting 2 bed, but he's using 1, so your bed profit is 1, and so it's equal to basically claiming a bed outpost. How good is that? I mean, I don't think it's that good. I would much rather have the soundproofing, for example, which is the -4 threat level. So I just don't think that's very good, and then because that's the main reason you would want this. You would mainly want it for the 2 beds, and then the +4 morale is a bonus. And I don't know. I just don't think it's worth it to have one entire character that is giving 2 beds and 4 morale. Maybe if it was like 3 beds, I think that might be a more interesting sell, just because he covers his own bed. And then you get 2 beds, so it's basically like getting an extra outpost, but the outpost has to be a bed outpost. That might be worth it, but as it stands now, it's not selling me on it. Then we've got design. Figuring out how to make things for human use. Gives us knowledge of the arts and knowledge of craftsmanship, as well as 50% more build speed and action speed. Build speed just doesn't really matter to me. Build speed is basically how quickly you build your buildings and upgrade your buildings. Not something I really care about. Facility action speed, that is how quickly boost yields works. That's how quickly any of these powers we can use. It's a little bit more useful, but once again, I don't know if I would want to dedicate an entire character. Like, we're talking about one of your 9 soft cap characters, or maybe 1 out of your 12, randomly gained characters. I just don't see that as being worth one of your really valuable slots on the, on the roster. So, oh man, I just don't think it's quite enough. You also do get knowledge of the arts, which would be another fulfillment for the space for creativity. So that would basically be like having another +5 morale. So it's +5 morale, 50% building and action speed, and then I guess also knowledge of craftsmanship. Is that? I'm just not electrified by it. That's the main thing. Anyways, what I want to do now is let us test out the shopping mechanic and see how the search speed feels differently from one another. Alright boys, so we are back, and what I've done is I have leveled up our shopping character. I didn't max her skill out, but that's fine, because leveling up scouting to the max is not going to increase the searching speed. Like you see there, 35% speed, that is just as good as any other character. Yeah, who else has scouting? You. As you can see here, maxed out scouting, it's the same. 35% search speed either way. So let's get an idea for how fast it is. So let's go ahead and loot 2 objects with... okay, let's just go right down the line like this. So here's the search speed, just maxed out wits. Doesn't just... normal search speed, maxed out wits.
I guess it's better than...
Definitely takes a little while. It is, and that is 35% faster than no skill in wits. Here we go again. Okay, now I'm going to switch to her. And so this is the base 35% search speed from maxing out your wits, and an additional 50% search speed from shopping. So let's see, you know, we need to really see a noticeable improvement here. Okay.
That's a lot of stuff.
Get a second try. My opinion on that is that that is garbage. You know, I don't think there's any other way to say that. Like, I was not impressed even in the slightest. I could tell that it did feel faster, but it just does not matter. That is like, that was just not, it was not good. It was not, that is, it's just not good. There's, I don't think there's any other way to describe it. It's just not good. For an entire 5th skill, shopping would need to do some additional things. 25 parts per day, that's okay, but I'd much rather have recycling for the 2 extra materials per day. Like, so what would it take to make shopping good? If shopping allowed you to instantly loot something, maybe that would actually be worth it. Because you got to think, you're giving up an entire 5th skill, something that could be like pharmacology or auto mechanics or agriculture. You are giving up an entire 5th skill, and you're making someone who needs a bed and needs to eat. And also on Lethal Zone, remember, you've got this nasty effect over here. We're not on Lethal Zone, but you have minus 30 morale per person. So basically, you're giving up your 5th skill, taking a minus 30 morale penalty, eating 2 food on Lethal Zone, and also using up a bed, and that's what you get. No, that's garbage. It's not good. It's getting the stamp of failure from Fox. Okay, so that was that, not gonna lie. I was thinking on the way home, but what would make it better if you were like veteran of Black Friday or Black Friday survivor, instantly loot whatever you interact with? That might actually be that might be decent. Anyways, I will see you in the Lethal Zone. Alright, boys, we are in the Lethal Zone Beeter version, and oh, that's so sad. Look at this. I just transferred that over into the base. Man, that stinks. It's like, I wish I could do that outside of the starting base, but no, looks like there's some kind of wacky glitch that prevents it. Anyways, now that we are back in the Beeter Lethal Zone, I guess what we're going to do is, I will attempt, you know, I do need to concentrate a little bit more in Lethal Zone, but I want to talk a little bit about how I think the update may change how you play Lethal Zone. And honestly, one thing that, you know, people often wonder, why don't I establish outposts earlier? And that's because I just don't need them. I'm not saying you shouldn't establish outposts early, like it's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. But in the way I play, I often just don't need to. It's not an essential thing for me to do. Oh, they're allies to me now. Interesting. Well, let me see their skills real quick. Computers? Computers, wow. We do need computers.
What's new, buddy?
And no skill. Interesting. What are you selling?
I think we can help each other out. Okay.
Food? Do I need food? I actually kind of don't need food. I'm not going to waste my food on, although at the same time, I mean, I can do it anytime I want. Like, there's nothing preventing me from doing that. Okay, let's go over here. And, we also need to destroy this infestation. Anyways, so my playstyle often means that I don't set up outposts, and I kind of use allies instead, and I basically just sell stuff to my allies as a way to keep my inventory more clear. And I think that's, you know, basically, would it cause you to play the Lethal Zone differently? I mean, obviously, yeah, you're not going to be able to claim the outposts as early as you want, but if you're like me and you have kind of gotten into the habit of not needing to, then the answer actually might be no. And in some ways, it might actually be easy. Oh, it looks like both the doors are locked for a change. Okay, looks like we'll have to bash our way. I'm going to bash in from the front instead of from behind, just because that's where my car is. And we go. Shut the door as well. Somebody here. I hear some grumbling through the walls. I'll just start looting here, and if it just means I'll see him come through the wall. But, yeah, it could be inconveniencing. Mainly, oh, we just found a computer textbook. Wow. Not sure. Like, I mean, it's better to have options than not. There we go. Take him out. But the main thing is, like, you probably wouldn't want to destroy plague arts very early. Even if you had the capability of destroying a plague art early, the main issue is that would you really want to start increasing your standing? If you're wondering why I hesitated there, I was actually trying to see if he was going to do a rapid get-up attack, because zombies have the ability to just, like, scramble onto their feet and just do, like, a double swipe at you. That's what I was looking at his animation to see if that was going to happen. But I don't think you'd want to increase your standing, because, you know, do you want more ferals to appear? Do you want, like, triple ferals to appear? Do you want more of the bad stuff to show up? My answer is no. Like, I would want to keep the game at a low difficulty as long as possible, and so you just wouldn't want to engage these plague hearts. And as a result, it's really good to get into the habit of not being so reliant on outposts. Now, that doesn't mean you can't use outposts. Like, there are certainly ways around it. Like, over here, like, this is clearly not... Although you might not be able to... Yeah, you can't secure some of these as outposts, but you might be able to find ways to sneak them in. You just might not be able to get exactly the outpost you're looking for. Looks like I have it looted over here. Let me go ahead and do that. Plus, we should be able to buy and trade from... Or just trade in general from those guys. That's how I feel about it. So, potentially, the answer could be no. Like, it might not affect your playstyle at all, simply for the fact that... Let me see if I can get these guys to engage the Pharaoh instead of me. I think we will be able to. Yep, I hear the sounds of pain from the Pharaoh. They should be able to easily defeat it. 3-on-1. Oh, look at that. We're even getting the tooltip to take it out while it's down, so even better. Just another way to use your allies. Allies are so useful if you think about how to use them beyond just... That's kind of cool. I never noticed that before. Little, deer skull on the, what do you call it? I took a moment to think about that one. What the heck I'm looking at.
Have eyes on a plague screamer.
Really? Right over there. Let me put these... I don't want to sell to these guys because now that I think about it, and that's because... they are neutral to me, and that means that they are not going to give me very good prices. So what we're going to do is we're going to loot what we can, and then we'll swing back over to those other guys and sell some stuff to them. Although at the same time, we do have a decent amount of influence, but it's just I guess that's the subject right there. Like, how do we manage our inventory? And that's going to be it right there. So he wants 2 plague samples. That's another thing we need to do. Craftsmanship. What do you have for sale?
Sure.
Building materials could be useful. And then there's you.
Later.
Sports trivia. Not too excited about that. Let's check this one over here. I'm pretty sure there's building materials in this shed. Okay, so since the Screamer screamed, and this is a very much a naked Lethal Zone play, what we're going to do is just say, screw that. And we're just going to go back over here. That is a general piece of advice I would give to anyone in Nightmare Zone or higher. I mean, it might matter even on Dread Zone. I haven't played on Dread Zone, so I wouldn't know. But anytime a Screamer screams on Nightmare Zone and certainly Lethal Zone, typically you just want to leave. Especially, my character doesn't have a gun. I don't have disposable weapons. I don't have the mighty pyro launcher to assist me. I do want to kill this guy, though. We want to try to take out as many of these isolated plague zombies in an opportunity to get another plague sample. Because I believe we have 1 sitting back at the base. And if I can get 1 more, I can get that quest done. Oh, that was pretty good, actually. We got a luxury item there. What kind did we get? Dented can of beer. High trade value. Could be, I'm guessing it's going to be worth about 100 influence. Yeah, we want to go over here, though, because these guys are going to give us a better deal. And I might just buy the food from them. I mean, why not? We also need to think about destroying that.
So nice to see you.
What do you say to a bit of bartering?
Okay, only worth 34, but, you know, I'll take it anyways. Yeah, I'll take the food. Why not? And I'm going to sell the water cooler. And I want to sell the boombox, if possible. Let's just finagle my inventory a little bit here. Boombox is worth like 34 influence, so that is actually pretty worthwhile. So we'll sell that, and as you can see, the water cooler is worth 30 or 85. Like, that's really, really good, especially because we have no use for the water cooler, given that we're using the amenities boon. Some people are saying that they should nerf the amenities boon, and I'll be the first to say I'm not opposed to it. Like, you know, you're not going to get any resistance from me. I do believe that the amenities boon was overall just way too powerful. And it's because it just shuts down. It basically means you don't have to interact with a certain mechanic. All of the other boons are helpful, but they don't, like, shut mechanics down. Like, in other words, if you have... Oh, I should probably... Before I just throw these in here, I should check my storage. Yeah, so we only have the level 1 storage, meaning I'm not going to be able to put all of this food in there, which is a little bit of a pain, but I can put that in, and I can put that in.
Survivors, this is Nigel Meredith. It's been a while, but I'm back on the air. I want to thank my new best friend Sasquatch for tracking us down and getting us back home. Operation Drawbridge may have failed, but Red Talon is continuing plans to fortify our Crow Lake site. We won't let you down.
You do that, Mr. Meredith. You do that. Don't have any firecrackers. I believe I'll build some. I don't see any harm in it. They're only like 20 parts. And while we don't have a whole lot of parts, I would... You know, I'm just going to play it safe. Playing it safe sounds like the way to go. And that's because it is possible for infestations to go wrong, even if they don't go wrong most of the time. So basically, the weaker my community is, the more vulnerable I am, the far less risks, and the more kind of like, I'll just call it like rock solid gameplay, just making like, oh, okay, I thought that was a juggernaut at first. Let's take this guy out. Hoping to get that plague sample. Don't really want to fight that, though. It looks like a horde over there. Oh, I don't want to constantly get in and out of the car just to knock these guys out, but we really need that plague sample. And I just have no idea which one is going to give me it to me. Could be any of them. Completely random. Also, we're going to incidentally level up our fighting, which is also a perfectly good benefit. I mean, we're basically training up our fighting in, like, a low threat level. So perfectly good for that. No, you don't. Okay. Alright, let's go to get that infestation next. Oh. So that's what's kind of funny about this, is because we now know that plague zombies always appear in plague territory, like guaranteedly, it's actually kind of a guaranteed way, not kind of, it is a guaranteed way to hunt for plague samples, which can sometimes be a little bit of a pain on these difficulties. Looks like my weapon has seen better days. So this is more enemies than I would like, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay, there is the second plague sample. And it looks like we're clear. There is the screamer, you can see it right over there. I'm going to play it safe. I was going to hop the fence, but I don't know if that's going to be too close or not. So I'm just going to play it safe and throw the firecracker right over there so we can lure out the screamer. Because I only have this one Molotov cocktail, I want to make sure it really counts. Whenever I throw the firecrackers, I do like to survey the area just to make sure I don't accidentally... Kind of an odd throw. Like, I felt like that would have been more on target than that. However, we did get the most important thing. We got the screamer. This weapon is about to fall apart, unfortunately, so I am going to try to stealth kill these guys. One. And that's the end of this infestation. Don't ask me why, but right now I'm just in a really teachy mood. You know, like that's the mood I feel like when I hit the record button right now. I just feel like in the mood to like instruct. So as a result, this is probably going to be a more down-to-earth session. Too many plague zombies. I could assassinate them, but I just don't want to spend that much time doing that. I think we have more productive things to do. So what we're going to do is just return to base with the objective of completing that quest. One of the things on Lethal Zone in particular, you want to make sure you're spending your time wisely. You could spend a lot of time fighting over basically nothing. Or you could just give up on an objective that seems like it's overly defended. And by overly, I don't mean impossibly defended. Like I could probably take those guys, but it just seems like it's going to take way more effort than I want to deal with. So, no thanks. We need to get rid of this weapon.
Time to worry now? If I was the worrying type.
Yeah, they're concerned about our issue with morale. Let me go ahead and get a new weapon out. We do need a new weapon, so that does incentivize me to now avoid combat where possible, and also to use strategies that minimize my weapon damage. I'm also probably going to start looting areas that are probable to have weapons, so I'm probably going to loot the campsites, and that's because those campsites, it's just that, they have weapons. I also might recruit one of these guys once I improve my friendship with them in order to have them, help me fight the zombies. I'd also, take the beating in my place. Always a big positive for... always a big positive for, when you're not in the best of conditions. Is the Screamer still here? Yes, it still is.
Watch the feral.
Oh god.
Looks like we got another freak.
Gonna hope that the feral decides to fight them. I think they will. I don't see any reason why they won't be able to take him out. Listening. Okay, I guess they got him.
Hello. With these plague
There's the samples.
I can make something that'll cure blood plague if one of us gets.
Oh, gave me a rucksack of fuel. Pretty nice.
We're happy to
And 500 influence. Wow. That starting quest is really nice. All right, so let's see. What are you selling? Building materials? I do want those, actually. And with the 500 influence we got, I am more than willing to pay the money for it. Let's go ahead and do that.
Do a bit of bartering.
Buy that.
Sure.
Throw this in the back.
Good. Something's come up. How about we get off our asses and do something about all these plague hearts?
Yeah, how about definitely not? Not a good idea right now. Those plague hearts, they run this place, not us.
Might be a safe spot to rest for a few.
Okay, so let's go ahead and loot this area. Some people ask, why don't I fast loot on Lethal Zone? It just invites way too many erratic possibilities. Like, you can wind up... I find that the time that I save from fast looting is counteracted by the amount of interference from zombies. So, basically, like, the patient way is to, just allow yourself to loot these at the normal speed, and then you don't have to fight any zombies. But whereas if you fast loot, like, you're going to be fighting, like who knows what, and it happens more frequently than I'm happy with. Now, if you don't like the speed of your looting, the best thing to do is get one character with stealth, because a character with stealth, once you max their stealth skill out, they are able to...
Shouldn't be a problem, though.
Interesting. They are able to fast loot without ever having a search failure. Or search crash is what it's called. So, I guess we got to get back there and defend the base. Should be a minor siege. I don't think I'm too worried about it. Though we don't have any guns, we'll have to rely on our numbers to smackinate them. And I think what I'm going to do, just to be safe, because it's not impossible for something really dumb to happen, like a feral appearing. And while I'm pretty sure we should be able to handle a feral 3-on-1 pretty handily, I don't want one of us to get blood plague. So what I'm going to do is, just for safety's sake, I'm going to hire one of these guys and basically boost us to temporarily to a 4-man community.
How the hell do screamers end up looking so damn weird?
I don't know. I don't know I care either. It's like, they're screamers, they're zombies. They're all crazy. This will cut into our rewards a little bit, you know, since the way we can look at it is, I spent 100 influence, and we're going to get 200 influence for surviving the siege. So I guess you could say that we're only going to get 100 influence for surviving the siege, but that's okay. I'm willing to pay that, just for the added security. Like I said, in the very beginning, when doing a fresh start like this, you definitely want to go for the cautious, rock-solid gameplay decision-making until your characters get strong enough that you can do some sillier things. And like I said, it might be nothing. Like, there might not be anything. But we'll see. No disposable weapons, so we just have to use whatever we got. Like, we don't have any Molotovs or anything. I could make some Molotovs just in case. Oh, no, I can't. Wow. So Molotovs are actually, that's interesting. So the level 1 workshop, Molotovs are more advanced than bombs. I would never have guessed. Well, I guess we're doing it the old-fashioned way.
Those who can have a duty to take in people who need help.
Dude, is that so? Is that so, Miss Kiana? The old door technique. Yeah, I would really like it if you... There we go. I see that horde over there. I believe they are trapped inside this rock. That is a common glitch. Still trying to save parts right now. Or let my allies do the dirty work. Oh, I came out with the ambush. There we go. Okay. That's fine. Oh, the door opens just as I'm trying to go for the door attack. And we got a SWAT zombie who disappeared. Oh, that needs to be removed. You can get a... he just said that you can get a gland from headshotting the bloater. That should probably be removed. That is a voice line from Heartland, but that is not true in the base game. You actually cannot get that. You can't harvest bloater glands in the base game of State of Decay. Like, so that is something they should... When did you get up here? I don't know about you, Tom. You might be an insurgent. I'm not sure. Anyways, there you go. So we learned about skills today, and you got to see a little bit more of that Lethal Zone Beeter content. And I think you'll agree so far, you know, maybe it would be nice if I could set up an outpost, but, you know, we can play pretty well in the beginning of the Lethal Zone without really needing to worry about the outpost. That means we can't really interact with them very much, and we are incentivized to begin clearing out the plague guards around the New Hope Church. We could see here that the New Hope Church is covered by 4 plague guards, which is pretty intense. On the other hand, the fortified truck stop and the fenced warehouse are both empty. There's no plague guards interfering with them, so we could just recruit up to 5 people, go into there, and then begin clearing the plague guards in this area here. Yeah, 4 plague guards covered that, 4 plagues. So there's probably about 6 plague guards around in this area in general. Who knows how many there are in total. But that's kind of what we're looking at, and overall, I would say it doesn't affect me that much. In fact, in some ways, it's probably a benefit because I'm able to reliably estimate where plague zombies are, which is nice for harvesting plague samples, especially if we loot. So right over here, we got the campsites. Especially if we loot these campsites and we're able to get a crossbow in order to increase the chances of getting a plague sample in the first place. Anyways, let me know what you think down in the comments section. I will continue making these beater videos from time to time whenever I assemble more skills to show you. And as usual, like any excess time in the video, we'll just dedicate to playing the Lethal Zone. If you've got any questions on what you want me to do in the beater, and if Undead Labs does any updates to change the beater, of course I will jump back in here. One thing that would make your recommendations to me a little bit better, like, would be try to repost to my pinned comment, because some of these videos have like 300 comments, and it's really hard to locate your feedback. hunting through 300 comments. But if you respond to my pinned comment, all I got to do is just just look through that section there. So that's what I would recommend doing. That it will drastically increase the odds of me being able to recognize what you want. Anyways, let me know what you think down in the comment section. Which of those skills would you use? Do you disagree? Do you think that I am not giving enough consideration to some of these skills, like maybe shopping? Maybe I wasn't using shopping correctly. Let me know down in the comment section. How are you enjoying the beta? Have you been playing? If you don't have it, are you happy to watch beater content through me instead? Let me know down in the comment section. Anyways, like the video, entertaining, subscribe for future State of Decay to the beater content. And of course, remember that you don't have to be good to get good.